Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna try recording a deck tech. I'm doing it on a stream. If anyone's watching, hi. This will be fun for you. So what we have here is a kind of a more fun version of the horror control deck that I play a lot of Bruce, but I'd say it's the deck I've been playing the most. This deck is a bit different. It's a bit more combo-y. I think about as combo-y as you can get in a game like Eternal, where you have to play 75 cards. Like the closest you can get to a combo is like 2 cards interacting in a very favorable way, and a lot of a real like big deal of ways to just find those cards. This deck is insanely good at digging. As you can see, we're playing 4 Herald Song. Wisdom. Yeah, there's just a lot of card draw. So I think this type of control deck lends itself really well to the combo win, or not even exactly win. It's more like a nice get a good advantage play. The deck plays like normal horror control most of the time. You're just trying to answer all of their threats, and then kind of eventually win incidentally of Throne Wardens or sometimes Valkyrie, beat them down with a 2/2. I recently added 2 dragons because sometimes, even when you have complete control of the game, it can be a little bit hard closing out. You just it's almost a speed consideration. I just like to win the games a little bit faster, so that's why the dragons are there. If we go from the beginning, Blind Storyteller is essentially Herald Song number 5 and 6. It's mostly there to discard channel and privilege your rank. Not much else. I tried 8 in the beginning because they kind of cycle themselves, so it's not really a big deal if you lose, like if you draw multiples, but I think I'd rather have more interaction. Permafrost, if you look at my normal list, you'll see I usually don't play as many as 4. It's usually like 3 of them, 3 Vanquish, maybe 2 of one of them. But the good thing about this list with so much discard is that you can kind of get rid of your bad cards. So if it's a matchup where Permafrost kind of doesn't shine, you can just throw it away and be fine with it. And when the card is good, it's probably the best card in the deck. It's Swords to Plowshares essentially, especially the combo with Staff of Stories 2 and 6 is really powerful. Island's Favor, honestly, I just kind of booted this list up, made a few changes. I like Favor. It's good at protecting your staff, and it also random sabotages can be good against the burn decks. But if you want to beat burn, I think you should be on 4 Throne Wardens before you start playing Favor. But it's a way to get some kind of more value out of your normal sigils. If you've ever played this deck for a long time, you will know that playing monuments in it is not a good idea, because you're looking, mostly it's because you're looking to get the 8 mana. So the like even after 5, you'd much rather draw power a lot of the time, and that makes the monuments a lot worse. I tried, like the first few lists I built played 4 Cobalt Monument, but it's just not good in the deck because they're gonna have so much removal in their hand turn 4 too. So there's really no, and that means you'd rather have some kind of value out of some of your sigils. Maybe you could even go up to the 3rd one, cut a primal. You say we're playing 26 power right now. Lightning Strike, absolutely crucial to beat Armory, and also kind of a cheap interactive removals, but it's surprisingly this deck doesn't play very well on the opponent's turn. There's not a lot of interaction that's instant speed, so just having Lightning Strike, having a way to interact with what's her face, the 4/1, the Countess, stuff like that, pretty important. Then we got Herald Song, which is the combo card of the deck. It's not very efficient. It's probably the least efficient card of all time. Not really, but you kind of feel bad playing it, but at the same time it digs you pretty good, without the annoying side effect that Second Sight has, where you have to put something back and it's kind of a small brainstorm lock. Doesn't feel very good, and it can screw you over. Sometimes Herald Song will never give you that issue at the cost of more mana. So like on face value, I would much rather play Second Sight, but then we lose out on the combo potential. Usually, I think you'll see in the games, but there's a couple of different ways to play Herald Song, depending on the situations. A lot of the time, I think you should just like with most combo decks in this game, or with decks that have like small synergistic combos. Maybe you say you play three Thunder Strikes and four second sight like the other deck list does. I see so many people holding the second sight to like kind of maximize their value. That's not something that this game is about. You just want to be mana efficient. So if you have the mana, most likely you should cast Herald Song. If you're in that situation, I'd say 80% of the time. It's an 80-20 thing, like everything else. That's probably all you can say about it. The deck needs, like, what I think some people don't realize, which is what, like, I hear a lot of questions about the other list where I play second sight and people are like, oh, is that card even good? It doesn't do anything. What this deck needs more than anything else is just as much card velocity as you can find. Doesn't matter in what form it comes. I mean, you'd rather have 10 Wisdom of the Elders. I think I'd play 12 if I could. But that's just not something that the game allows, so we gotta kind of live with it. We got Vanquish, which is kind of the same as Permafrost. It's probably a worse removal spell on average, but still okay. And you kind of need it in some matchups. Pretty hard to answer some cards without a Vanquish. Sandstorm Titan being the prime offender, I guess. Still, we have Harsh Rule too, but it's the most efficient removal spell in the game, probably. Usually a lot of mana up. Kind of, this is probably the card that dictates the meta game of the format the most, because it punishes some cards so hard, and makes it hard to stabilize, which is why Throne Warden is so good. So yeah. Privilege or rank, incredibly good in this deck. I think this is the main reason to play this list over the other one, is that Privilege or rank is actually extremely efficient. Or not efficient, but it lets you get enough power in the game. This deck is like, you wanna drop power essentially up until 11 or 12. So he's getting those random, usually don't even have to spend a card, even though like you're kind of spending a card on economically just because you're putting Herald Song in your deck, but still, once it's in your hand, you usually can just discard it to something and kind of be up in that interaction. Very efficient. I'd say in this deck, maybe 1 out of 10 of these I cast. So don't look like, if you have nothing else to do, you need power, just cast it. But otherwise, kind of hold it for. You usually find a discard. Valkyrie Enforcer, kind of a removal spell that does some things that the other cards just don't do. Yeah, it's just good. It's the only silence we kind of have access to, so you gotta live with it. I don't like it that much in the deck because the strength of this list, or of all horror control decks, is essentially to stall a removal in your opponent's hand. They play a lot of removal. They just doesn't have any targets except for Aegis creatures or whatever. And Enforcer kind of just dies. But it's a removal spell. You kind of have to think about it like a removal spell, and it'll be good for you. Wisdom of the Elders, best card in the deck. Just draws 2 cards, lets you do something with your mana in the early turns. Fantastic. I would play as many as I could. Harsh Rule, also the best card in the deck. The reason we can play a deck like this at all is the fact that we have access to a true sweeper like this. Don't be afraid to pull the trigger early. Threats in this game are very efficient, and this deck is so bad at producing a board presence that good players are just gonna know that if you pass the turn and try to bait out another creature, they're just gonna attack you and put you in the same position the next turn, and that's not fantastic. So don't be afraid to pull the trigger early. Staff of Stories is I mean, the deck started out with 4, and they're really good. The first one is incredible. You always want to draw 1. The second one, not so good. I think it's either 2 or 3 you want to be. I think if you play more Throne Wardens, you can go up to 3, because the interaction is so good. But in this list, I'd rather be with 2. We also have a shitload of 5-drops. Like, what's 12 of them? Throne Warden, great creature. I don't know, if I found a way, maybe we can do this. I'd like to play 4 because the card is just so good, but there are also so many 5-drops. Not much to say about him. He's your main way to win, your main way to push through damage when you finally need to close that gap. He's good at protecting you, lets you get up some life versus the burn decks, for example. It's a good way to stabilize in most situations. Since you can't really remove him, he's great just against Elysian, stuff like that. You just kind of drop him, and he sits there, blowing them away. Westwind Herald, probably the reason that this list exists. It's not a very efficient card, but if you get to cast Channel the Tempest on turn 5 or 6 from the graveyard, it feels fantastic. And you usually have Wisdom, or there's probably a good target. Not much else to say. It's a decent threat. Bad blocking though. Kind of have to drop it on an empty board to feel great about it. But we also have efficient removal, so it's pretty easy to get through. Thunderstrike Dagon, mostly here for armory and stuff like that. This card is just crucial to be able to drop something that's hard to take away with weapons while still kind of clocking them for real. It's weak to Vanquish and stuff like that, especially since the deck taxes Vanquish so poorly. But I think playing 2 is alright. You can cut one of these for the Scourge of Frostholm or whatever, the 10-drop. I think he's pretty good in Hooru control in general. So that's something you can try if you want. Maybe I should do that. Let's look at. I haven't tried the Scourge in this list, so let's try this just for fun. It'll make the games more interesting. The win condition of the deck, Channel the Tempest. This is the reason the deck exists at all. I just want essentially the reason I built Hooru control is I just tried to find the closest card to Sphinx's Revelation in the game, and this is as close as you get. +4 cards ideally, essentially, or -1 on the opponent, or +3, or +2. Sorry, so +3 ideally. But it also, a lot of the time you win by just casting 2 of these to the opponent's face. It's a very efficient burn spell, like in terms of how many you need to win the game. Not exactly the maybe not efficient the word you're looking for, but that's essentially. And yeah, the Scourge, he's weak to silence, but there are some matchups where if you drop this card, the game is actually over. It's impossible to answer. And that's really powerful, especially since this deck is so good at like kind of bringing the game along. Like eventually they're gonna run out of cards. Then you can just drop him, and there's nothing they can top deck to win the game. And then we're playing 25 sigils with. You kind of have to have this many green because we're playing 4 privilege rank. Maybe I can go down to. Maybe you can go down to 7. Just maybe. But it's shaky. And but because like the big influence requirement to this deck is Channel the Tempest. It's not unthinkable to be on 8 mana and not be able to cast this card. It happens every now and then. So you kind of want to play as much blue as you can. I don't like the Diplomatic Seal in the deck because we go so late. So it's just essentially, yeah, we play these 2 because we have time in the early game to drop a Depleted Sigil. And the rest of the time is just good. So that's the deck take. I figure I'll play some games and also record them. And we'll see if this is good enough to actually post.